Oh wow, we actually had a
Everything
pretty
that
much
lives is
synced start
designed to
time.
end.
Yeah,
We are
Usually
perpetually
they're kind
trapped
of
in a
some of us
Yeah.
never-ending
jumped the
spiral
gun
of
or
life
something.
and death.
yeah, or
Is
just
this a curse? Or
delay,
some kind of
Yeah.
punishment?
simple delay from
I often think
streams.
about the God who blessed us with
Twitch
this cryptic
can have
puzzle.
very different
I
delays
wonder
on
if we'll
different
ever
persons.
have the chance to kill him.
But yeah,
Yeah, so here in the opening section, you'll see the flight units.
This is command.
We'll have a couple
Your
different
squadron,
sections
come
that
in.
we do
2B
use the
here.
flight
All units
units.
have
They do
penetrated the
have different
stratosphere.
configurations,
Autopilot
which you will
systems
also see.
green across the board.
Unfortunately, the start of this run is a
This
minute
is operator
30 of
6-0.
doing
All
absolutely
units
nothing.
confirmed. We've passed the
It's
50
just
kilometer threshold
Yeah.
and
waiting
are
for
proceeding toward
dialogue.
the target. Understood.
yeah, and,
But
it actually is a minute 30 of not being able to do anything. You can't even move until that point. Once you pass that point, you can move, but it's still waiting.
yep.
12H down.
Yeah, there's
All
not a lot of
units
time
activate
saving
manual
these
mode and
shoot
rely
'em
on
up
visuals to
or
evade.
shmup
Already
sections.
engaged. Free movement
A lot of it
unlocked.
just comes from clearing waves as
Origin
quickly
point
as
of
possible.
long-range lasers confirmed.
Here we go. Yeah, we have both runners are going to be tanking the laser
11B
hits here.
down. Our HO229
Very minor
cancelers are
optimization we
ineffective.
have, whereas it will clear out some of the unneeded recoveries in our inventory, which makes it easier for
Alert.
when we menu
Enemy
down
unit
to
sighted ahead.
use our attack buffs. We have less
Requesting permission
items
to
to
engage.
pass past.
Permission granted.
Yeah, it's a really minor time save. Just a couple of frames, but save the frames.
Yep. There are a couple different waves that we can kind of manipulate the AI to clear out the waves a little quicker.
Assuming captain's duty.
I'm actually surprised to see someone at all going for the second one. Sheng is doing the second AI manip here. Doesn't
Yeah.
look like he got it completely, but it's a really finicky
Multiple
manipulation. It
surrounding enemy
actually
air
only
units
saves
confirmed.
about a second,
Requesting
maybe
permission to
two if
assume
you're
mobile
really lucky.
configuration. Permission granted.
It's really weird to get the AI in the position you need them, because you're actually pushing the AI off the screen completely. Not many runners do it. If you mess it up or the AI just decides not to kill the enemies, it is a time loss. So it's kind of a risky, like a little risk-reward
Captain,
strat.
I think
Yeah,
4B down.
yeah. I didn't do them. Too much of a hassle. Maybe I should do them. Maybe I would have decent times on the leaderboards if I did do them.
The second AI manipulation,
Yeah,
I
especially
can
the
see,
second
you
one.
know, it just,
Especially
it
the
saves so
second.
minor time, like,
Understood.
it's fine, like, people don't do it and that's completely fine. Through this tunnel, there's going to be a little more intentional damage, again, just clearing out those recoveries.
Yeah.
Nothing too major.
Yeah,
Both
just-
these runners have run the game enough. They kind of know the waves, like the order of the waves of these sections, so each runner will have kind of their own strategy for them, but the goal is to just clear them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we're inside the factory now, and we should be out of the flight units really soon. And advance on the game. We have the fidget spinner. Fidget spinner is bad, but fidget spinner also is dead. That's how we like fidget spinners. And we're out of the shmup section, and in this third-person view, and that actually is how we will see the game most of the time. And yeah.
And we're going to see both runners doing the same attack here. You can actually do it with or without a dash in the game as it is, but we've found that for some reason, if you dash into a heavy attack with the short sword in your heavy slot, the game decides to register it at 5 times damage. I'm not sure why, but you know.
Yeah, it's just deal 5 times the damage, and why not?
Yeah.
And we like it. 5 times damage sounds good, so we do it. It's fast. If you wouldn't have imagined it, dealing more damage makes the game go over faster.
And here, this is Mark's 1. Basically, all we're doing is just clearing the HP out, which it does not take long with damage glitch. Only a good 2 damage glitches will completely destroy Mark's 1.
Yeah, and first skip in the game, crane skip, not too difficult, but you can still mess it up.
I was going to send you the map data I collected.
But none of our runners did, and they're heading into the second silo, just fighting a bunch of more stubby machines, and yeah,
Nothing's ever easy.
hope that they can get this done fast.
Well, here we have Sheng's actually using the slow-mo here on these the stubbies here. Very good strategy. For a long time I was not using it actually, but I've finally adopted it, and it is great. All of these little small robots here tend to dodge a lot, and using slow-mo will keep them in place. I'll kind of explain that after I do bridge here. Datto is doing, and Sheng is starting it now, bridge skip. It's a fairly precise set of inputs here to gain a lot of height.
Yeah,
by getting on
that
top
was
of the
a
bridge.
very good bridge skip. First try on Datto's side, second try on Shang's.
Yeah, it was solid.
That is very impressive. That skip is very hard to execute. Definitely one of the hardest. And good job to both of our runners to get it that quickly.
Yeah. And then we had the lava out of bounds as well there. Just kind of skips a little bit of a zigzaggy path that you normally would need to take. Here in Silo 3, it's a lot of well-placed pod programs. You'll see the laser taking out a good amount of enemies at once. 3 to 4 enemies is usually what you're aiming for in this silo. It speeds up your clear
the entire
time
factory,
a good
but couldn't
bit.
find anything resembling
Yeah,
the target.
lasers are strong.
I don't know.
Yeah, lasers are one of many pod programs that in the game. Pod programs basically are special skills that you have, and they have a cooldown. And
There should
so
be another
yeah,
facility across that
Yeah,
bridge.
Sheng
It's a
showing
bit of a
off
hike,
the
but should we
angle
check it out?
swag here. It
It's not
looks
like a
great.
plan to get a
It
location
saves
wrong.
less than a
I
second.
guess even they get bad intel from time
But
to time, huh?
it's a very cool strategy. It kind of shows
I wouldn't bet on that.
how weird this game really is.
yeah.
There's a lot of really odd-looking out-of-bounds sections.
Yeah, you will see a lot of out of bounds in this run, and I'm looking forward to it. I always like seeing NieR out of bounds. It's funny. But yeah, we will have a lot to talk about out of bounds later, so now we have Marks 2. So you probably remember this big guy, and we fought him once, and now we fight him a second time. And there actually are 2 of him this time around. But yeah, also this time around we only have to kill him halfway to advance into the boss fight. So yeah, not really much of a difficult fight, and once you get down the combat in this game, you can get the Marks 2 fight one cycle really easily.
Yeah. Here we're both both runners are coming up on angles, the final boss of the prologue section. Right now it doesn't matter too much what he's doing. Ideally, you're wanting melee attacks as we can actually damage him, and in hopes of getting his HP to the lowest it can go at this point in time. There will be a cutscene coming up during this fight where 9S will fly in order to support 2B, and the one attack that Engels chooses at that point is very important. You can either lose 23 seconds, lose 3 seconds, or come out with an optimal attack. It's one of the few very RNG dependent spots in the A ending run.
What's your status?
This is the target.
Datto is good. He's getting a ranged attack here.
Right.
Yeah, Datto is lucky, and we'll see how Sheng's doing in a second.
Good.
Yeah, he got a good one too. So no one losing 20 seconds to RNG here. I like that.
I do too. You hate to see a runner lose 20 seconds.
Yeah, punches always hurts, even if it's someone else who runs, and especially in a race. If one person gets punches, the other one doesn't. That's 20 seconds different, and 20 seconds is a lot. And losing 20 seconds during a race due to pure RNG is bad.
Yep. So here we see the runners standing on these pipes here, showing off the rift between our runners here. Many will pick the right pipe, as Datto has, and just about as many, if not more, will pick the left pipe, as Sheng has.
Hacking in.
It's a war in the community. Left pipe is the right pipe.
The side that you're on doesn't really matter so much. It's just kind of when you're on those pipes, angles can't hit you. So it's kind of nice. And Datto is just showing off the first instance of a double lift. By using a jump into a heavy attack quickly, you get kind of a quick upward movement with the sword. And by doing that when facing into an incline or a raised surface of any type, you can kind of just refresh your jump, and the game will think you've never used a lift, so you can use a second one. It's really nice. We'll see that in a couple other sections as well. And here is another slight RNG segment as well. The last one for a while. We're kind of just waiting on dialogue in this part. And depending on what attack Engels decides to use near the end of the dialogue, you can lose a good bit of time here. When 2B says, "I told you to shut up," hopefully Engels is in the middle of an attack or finishing up one.
At the end of an attack. Optimally, he's right about to end an attack, so you immediately get a new attack. Because after the dialogue is over, the next attack that Engels starts advances the fight. So if he's in the middle of an attack animation, he needs to finish that attack animation first before he can start a new one, and that one advances the fight. So you can lose up to 11 seconds to RNG again, without being able to change anything about that.
It looked like both runners had similar attacks there. Datto was about halfway through a melee swing, and Sheng actually was at the start of a melee swing, so Sheng lost a little bit extra time, but there's not much you can do about it. RNG will be RNG.
Yeah. Was that a two-hit on Datto's side, or did I miss?
I didn't notice, honestly.
I think that was a two-hit, which would be amazing. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There is a slight. We're not sure exactly what causes it. I think it's just your inputs within a certain frame region, but you can get a 2 melee swing kill on angles in that final phase. It's kind of weird. I don't think anyone really understands how it works.
Yeah, I don't think we have a consistent setup for that yet. So
here's the true boss of the game. So the game kind of just makes you set up your settings again, turning on your voice volume and your brightness settings and your self-destruct, which fortunately it tells you to turn on your self-destruct because the self-destruct is probably the most used or most useful thing we have in this run.
I heard a thing about self-destruct. It might be a little bit broken. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it's probably the most broken thing in the game. Maybe after the small sword.
Yeah.
You need to be near an
But it's
access point
definitely
to save
way
your
up
data.
there.
You can see access points on the close range map. Be sure to save often.
I'm interested to see now if Sheng does the dialogue cancel here.
Oh yeah, that would save him
So
a good amount of time.
I saw Datto did not, and it doesn't look like it.
The surface?
It's a very slight time
But
save.
Sheng did the heavy attack through the trigger, so he saved a bit of time compared to Datto there.
Yeah,
Can't mass produce these
very
things.
minor.
Yeah.
But
Datto still is ahead, but it's those minor time saves that over the time might get him back in the lead. We will see.
yeah, there's a lot of spots to lose time in this run.
K2B, why do you think
So
they sent a combat model
it'll
like
be
you
interesting
to
to
a
see
recon
how
job?
everything
If all they want
goes.
is intel, we
Plus, this
scanner
game
models are built for
actually
that
can
kind
kind
of
of
thing.
touch on that as
Orders
well.
are orders.
So you may see
Alright.
some of the yellow text on Datto's screen. A lot of our runners actually cannot even run this game on their PC without the fixed automata resolution mod.
Make sure to commit them to memory.
That being said, we allow the mod, but we just require that we see an FPS counter so that we can see that their FPS is not unlocked, as higher FPS will really break the game.
Yeah, it breaks
You
the
can kinda
physics. It makes clipping out of bounds easier to remember, and it makes some animations to give you more range that they're supposed to be, which makes some long jumps really easy.
Commit. I've
Yeah.
set a
That
limit
usually
to
are pretty
100%.
hard, so
You'll be touching down quite a ways from the resistance.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Unlock frame rate
Trouble.
really
Can't
makes
risk
things
the enemy
easy.
discovering
That's
your
why
position.
we
Understood.
require
Good
that
luck down there.
overlay if you do use the far mod,
Yeah.
so that we can see that you are using settings that are allowed on the leaderboards.
Datto is done, and Sheng is about to exit the flight unit here. This will be almost the last flight suit segment in the run. It's the last one for a long while, which is good.
Yeah, we have city angles,
Yeah,
but other than that, I don't think we have anything left in A ending.
According to our intel, none of the machines in this area are hostile.
yeah. So here we
I've seen
have.
more and more enemies like
It's
this
very
lately.
small, but
They
like
just
you,
stand there and stare into space.
you may notice
It's pretty weird.
the movement that both runners are doing into when cutscenes start. So you'll see this here on Datto's screen. By doing either an attack or getting yourself airborne, so jumping
So this
or
is the
something
resistance
over
camp,
the
huh?
Or
So I have to go
a
talk to their leader
a
first.
precise dash does too.
yeah, over
But it's
the
very precise.
cutscene start trigger. So the way I've kind of found it to be is this game actually has two separate triggers for cutscenes. It has a slow walk trigger and then an actual cutscene trigger. If you hit the slow walk cutscene trigger while not doing an attack or something like that, then
must
the
have been
game
quite a
forces
city
you to
once
slow
upon a
walk
time.
for about
Too bad
3
vegetation's
seconds.
claimed most of it now.
That's
So a
2
lot of
seconds.
runners will try and a lot of runners will
Operator
all
60
runners
to
will
2B.
be trying to
It is time for your regular regularly scheduled
Yeah,
contact.
do some
it's
form of movement
Nothing to
tech
report.
through.
Good to
yeah,
hear.
That's
it's only 2 seconds, but it's very 2 seconds. Very easy to save 2 seconds, and 2 seconds do matter, especially in a race or when trying to do PVs and stuff, because
Let's get these
you have a
pictures
bad.
together.
If I have a bad
Plant
day
life
and
is
I mess
playing
those
host to
things
a
up, I
central
can
area.
easily
Big plants
lose
do.
more than 10 seconds to that, and
Records show that vegetation
Yep.
has grown
that's
to
annoying.
normal size since the departure of humans.
You
Yeah,
don't
we have-
want to do
I
that.
wonder if there are any huge
Here we have
birds and
the
such,
only
too.
well, quote unquote side quests that we do. I say side quests because they are fetch quests. But
Yeah,
these
they are called
two
side
fetch
quests by the game,
Mhm.
but the main quest, they are required to progress the main quest, so they are kind of a hybrid of main and
Okay,
side
that's
quests.
everything the supply trader asked for. Man, these chores are a real pain in the butt, huh?
The resistance
Datto's
is a
still a
valuable
little bit
ally to
ahead,
Europe.
but
By helping them,
Sheng
we
caught
also
up,
help ourselves. So
I
no,
think.
I don't
Yeah.
think they're a pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Difference
they're pretty
between
close.
those two is by far not as big as it was.
It's maybe about 10 seconds. It looks like.
If even that.
Yeah.
I think it's even less than that, so...
Oh, right, we never touched on the movement. Oh, so in prologue, you may have seen the both runners were just chaining dashes together. So just dash into another dash into another dash. And then in this quest segment, they were using dash punches. It's very, very slightly faster. It saves like next to no time, but if it's faster, you're gonna do that.
Understood,
And
042.
then these
Placing
quests that
marker
they
on
just
target.
turned in
The desert heat is going to make
actually
resupply
give you
efforts
the
difficult.
items
Please make
required
sure you're ready
to
before you
upgrade
go.
your short sword to level 2. And with the second level on the sword, you have a increase in damage as well as attack speed. And that buff in attack speed makes it so it's a little bit faster than dash punches to use dash swings. It's significantly easier to dash swing than dash punch in most runners' opinion. So it's a very good time to be done with the punches.
Yeah. I don't think dash punches are too difficult, but I don't know if the way I'm doing is the optimal way. So my opinion is not to be trusted in that in that point. So they're heading to the desert now. The second area that we visit in the game. And we're supposed to simulate some machine activity, so it means kill some stuff. It means run past a lot of stuff and then kill some other stuff,
Data, huh?
and then we're
Hard to get an
done.
accurate picture from this.
And we're like
Our satellite
literally
resolution isn't
seconds
so high.
apart at this point.
Hopefully they deploy some new
I
satellites.
think that's maybe
A
5
general
seconds.
idea is good enough.
Yeah, so both
So-
runners here
Get in your
did
way,
their first buy of the run. Picked up some recoveries, some buffs, an animal bait that will be used later, a sachet, a sachet, whatever you want to pronounce it as. I'm not going to get in that war. And a chip called Resilience. Resilience
Who
is
opens
a
sealed
huge
gate with
addition.
explosives? There's gotta be
that
an easier way, right?
Has been around a decent amount of time now, but it's a chip that makes it so you don't get staggered as long as you're above 80% HP. So it makes it very easy to kind of just throw swords
This
all
sand
day.
Sure is slippery.
And then both runners picked up the transporter there that is setting up for a skip later, and then did the out of bounds behind the desert barricade that skipped having to wait for the dialogue
If
Yes.
in order to talk to
Barricade clip was 9 seconds apart, so yeah, it's not even 10 seconds that separates
We
those
got
two
enemies
runners now.
approaching.
And every single mistake or minor time save can change the lead at this point.
Yeah, there was a lot of skips there and a detour to pick up a second pod. Pod is mainly used for the pod program. We do use the Gatling pod for damage. The missile pod, not so much, but...
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the pod programs have a cooldown, and having a second pod gives us a second charge of the program, so we can use it twice. And they have separate cooldowns, so basically twice as much lasers, and which means a lot more damage, and we like more damage, so we pick that thing up.
What's that?
Sheng got very good, a very quick dive from Don Burrows there. Datto was not quite as lucky. It wasn't too bad, but there was a little bit of delay. That robot can kind of just decide not to burrow, which we need him to do. But it's fine. Here, Datto and Sheng are coming up on the desert housing skip.
Datto has some problems catching up. Sheng doesn't, and that almost obliterated the time difference they have. It's like seconds now.
Yeah, so this out of bounds, I love this out of bounds. It really shows how weird the out of bounds areas are in this game. There's some invisible floors that are actually solid, and then there's some floors that have a texture, but they're not actually a floor. It's really weird. Here both runners are just kind of dancing around out of bounds, grabbing some required triggers, and now they're going to be buffing up and switching their weapon sets. So their weapon set 1 is identical to weapon set 2. This allows us to have access to double damage glitch, which is when you throw out a single damage glitch, swap weapon set, and then throw out another damage glitch. Both damage glitches will spin at the same time, which will give us a lot of damage over what we originally had.
Yeah. So damage glitch is 5 times damaged. Double damage glitch is twice the damage of a damage glitch, so we're 10 times damaged now. And we have attack buffs that give us another double damage, which makes 20 times damage. And I think and we also have taunting. Taunting by spamming the flashlight into the face of an enemy. That enemy gets taunted and puts him in a state where he both deals and receives 50% more damage, which puts us at 30 times damage. So you can imagine how ridiculous that is.
Ooh, Sheng actually pulled ahead here.
Yeah.
I think Datto must have missed the
quest machine.
The quest robot, yeah.
Yeah, so Sheng is now in the lead. Not by too much.
Yeah, it's very close. This is the Atom fight. There's a couple phase skips that we do.
Might do. It's pretty precise, so I think both of those runners did it because they're good runners, unlike me. But it's hard to do the phase skip.
Come on, through that hole.
Yeah, Sheng is now finished and Datto is now finished, so this again is seconds, a few seconds that separate our runners there. And yeah, but Sheng pulled ahead in that fight. And I think he saved even a little bit more time during the actual Atom fight.
Looks like we're safe now.
So yeah, I think he did.
He does have a few seconds lead, but
the fight was very clean from both. Sheng's was... I didn't actually see exactly how his pit fight went, but I know it obviously went well because he got ahead.
Yeah.
Or Datto's just did not go well. I didn't really notice, to be honest.
Well, Sheng's was better than Datto's, and this is a race, so that's all that counts.
Yeah. So here we have a very nice correction there by Sheng. He had pushed the box a little too far originally. So here we're going to make use of that transporter that they unlocked on the way into Desert. We clip out of bounds because there's a dialogue trigger in those tunnels that we need to skip over. By skipping over that dialogue trigger, it'll never start. And when the dialogue is running, we can't quick save or do anything like that. So
yeah, we can't save the game when a dialogue is running. So we skip the dialogue to do a save warp. Puts us back at the entrance, saves a little bit of time.
yep.
Operator to 9S. Data upload complete.
Roger.
I also have an incoming message from the commander. Initiating playback. 2B, 9S.
So now we're on the way to the amusement park.
Their black boxes are online,
And
so we presume
Pretty
they're
cool
still
area
alive.
of the game. One of my
We tracked the
favorites.
location of their
Yeah,
signal.
it definitely has one of the best music tracks, in my opinion. Though all the music tracks are amazing, but amusement park is really good. We won't hear too much of it. But yeah, we're supposed to look for some resistance members, which means killing more machines. And at this point you might see a pattern there. We kill a lot of machines. There's some more stuff than killing machines to the game, but the speedrun basically is only about killing machines.
Unsolvable problems.
It's fast.
Yeah, there's a couple different paths that runners can take in this section.
Sheng got the cutscene.
Yeah, Sheng actually
can
was a little
you
too close on that.
Yeah, you can skip that cutscene. Maybe you will see it on Datto's side. Doesn't save a huge amount of time, but it does save a little amount of time, and
That's like 1 to 2 seconds or so.
yeah, 2 seconds ish. Yeah.
Here there's
so-
a couple routes that runners can take in this out of bounds section. I don't expect to see any roller coaster shenanigans today. Very few runners have started to adopt that into their normal runs.
Yeah. So we see a little difference. Might have seen when Sheng was out of bounds, he had a elevator to stand on that Datto did not have. That elevator is part of the DLC of the game. So if at this point the run changes whether you have the DLC or not. It makes no difference in speed, and yeah, I think the DLC version is a little bit easier, but
Yep.
it's not really
Everyone's different.
it's not really a difference in execution, not much. And it is no difference in speed, so it doesn't matter if you own the DLC or not when running the A ending category of the game. Or any other category at that.
Yep. Here both the runners just riding the roller coaster. They have all the triggers, got all the triggers from out of bounds, and now the roller coaster will just take us to the boss room. Ideally, both runners hit level 8 here. Kind of waiting to see. I don't think Sheng hit level 8. And I see Datto, I don't think has hit it yet. Looks like both of them are still level 7 here. Interesting.
Yeah, 7 is fine, I think.
Yeah.
If it's like a high level 7, it's totally fine. If you have level 8 here, then you can skip out on some experience later on, but they're totally fine. And only few seconds difference on the boss entrance here. It's literally just the boss spawning cutscene that separated them, or more, like half of that cutscene separates them. So.
Like Sheng had a little bit of issue getting the half cycle here.
Yeah, he had.
Yeah, we saw it from Datto here. By doing the damage and at a particular speed, if we can hit the threshold for the first phase HP during, like, just after she starts her first attack. In doing that, we can kind of manipulate her position so that the phase or the attack ends and she's right next to the stage. It does save a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Are we serious?
So she can either have
Wait, I don't think.
be right next to the stage or in the middle of the room, and since she has to go back to the stage, obviously she will be faster if she ends her attack right next to the stage opposed to in the middle of the room.
Like, Sheng had a very clean, alive, dead androids phase.
Yeah, Datto got hacked once. Getting hacked, and got hacked the second time. So if you get hacked, you have to do this mini game, and in A ending, we hope to see it only once. Datto got it, got 2 extras, and I'm not sure how much time lost that is.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how quickly you clear the hack.
Yeah, it
but
depends on which
typically it's
hack
around
you get,
6.
but it's
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
usually like 5 to
6,
6 seconds.
yeah, 6-ish seconds. So
things to say.
he lost about 10 seconds to getting hacked at that point. So
You said that yourself.
yeah, not really lucky.
Here we have both runners self-destructing at the end of the fight. We'll see what that's used for, but basically self-destruct will put you on 1 HP, which will be important. This race is very close. This is one of the closest races I've seen. Pretty much all tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, this is really close. I'm not sure if I have seen one of those that close races.
They originally came here from outer
It's
space,
literally
There
seconds.
are a few theories about that,
Yeah.
but no one knows for sure.
So yeah,
Hard to tell what an alien is thinking, you know?
yeah, about 10 seconds. And lead has already switched once, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see another lead switch
Yep.
later on in this run, because again, this is seconds. Few seconds that separates our runners at this point.
Just something very interesting to see that I'm noticing here is you can kind of see the difference between a runner using the far mod and a runner not. The grayscale is actually a different color. Like, very slightly, but it's actually a different color. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Not sure why that is.
A little bit of issue
sure.
there on that clip by Sheng. Just kind of avoids having to go all the way around, which does save time. I'm not saying that I'm the smartest of runners, but you know, it does save time to go through the box.
Yeah, so we have a moose on Shang's side, and Datto has a boar, so boar hopping?
Yeah, we'll see if it's
Yay.
very, very, very small on the time save, but hopping on the boar is ever so slightly faster
You leaving would be bad.
than to just sprint on either a moose or a boar.
Are you saying you need me?
It looks like Sheng got a little greedy with the dash swings going towards the animals and scared away his boar.
Yeah, getting too greedy on dash swings there. I do that regularly too, and it is bad because that dash swing still is an attack. So since you do attacks animals get scared and run away, and that's actually bad if you want to ride an animal.
Yeah, so this was the reason for the self-destruct. It put us at a low enough HP that they just get one shot by an animal here. This quest that they're working on, they had to go to Pascal's village, deliver it to the resistance camp, get a new item from the resistance camp, and bring it back to Pascal's village. By death warping, they're able to just immediately respawn at Pascal's village with the item from resistance camp. So it does save a large chunk of movement time.
And it looks like there are a ton of other machines there with it. All your high units should proceed and engage immediately.
So, all you guys, do you remember the big guy at the end of Prologue? He's
I
back.
promise you.
There's two of him.
Command is deploying new flight
He has a
Yeah.
friend.
They just set the
Yeah, he has a friend. And they're destroying everything here, so we gotta kill them. Maybe.
Yeah, so oddly enough with this game, or with this section in the game, both of these are not required. You're not actually required to kill both of these Engels bosses. The one that Sheng and Datto are just passing now is the required one.
The flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead.
We're going to actually come back for him, as we're going to use the flight units to kill him much quicker than we would from the ground. It is possible to kill him from the ground with just your pod.
Yes.
Do not recommend it, but it is possible.
It is pretty easy if you do it on New Game Plus, like with a very high level character and good chips and a upgraded pod. It's pretty easy. You can almost basically one-shot him.
Yeah.
It gets ridiculously easy if you're on high levels, because his level doesn't change. And yeah, you actually get a reward if you kill him from the ground.
Ooh.
But the most funny thing about that, in my opinion, is if you kill both of the angles from below, you still have to go up on the roof to grab the flight leg unit.
Oh no. Oh
So
no.
Datto fell down. Well,
yeah, so there's a couple strategies here, but now that Datto has fallen off the roof in this section, you can kill him and progress the game, but your camera is locked on angles at this point.
yeah. So remember how we said killing him with only pod is slow? That's his only choice at this point.
Well, you can kill him with melees still, but you have to. You can only hit him with melees, obviously, if he's melee attacking. You can actually get up the ladder, but it's not fun. It's yeah.
So yeah.
So
It's
it looks
no
like
soft
Datto's just
lock.
going to
It's-
take the
yeah.
death here, and just. I'm not sure if he's going to continue at this point, but he could just respawn and then continue from
Seems
there.
to be underground. Like way underground.
Kind of looks like he's not sure if he wants to continue.
We're lucky.
You're not much for plans, are you, 2B?
Yeah, it's either way, it's a significant time
Seems like
loss.
they've been here for a long time.
Yeah, it's a significant time loss here.
There's nothing
Yeah, Datto just said in the speed gaming chat that he is not finishing this.
You.
2B, look out!
So
Yep, it's unfortunate. It happens. So there was actually two ways to escape that fight, and both runners missed
Wipe down.
there's just a hole in the wall.
Perhaps we'll wipe out the androids
But
next.
the
Machines are weapons.
the second way is jumping over the wall, and doing that is typically not too bad, but angles can be really rude there and knock you off the bridge.
Past that of our creators.
we've seen what happens when he knocks you off the bridge. It's not a fun time.
Oh, there's no need to fret about them.
Yeah.
They were simple, infantile, almost like...
Here we have Sheng in the
They held
negotiations
no value
fight.
to us, but they
Here we're
sure
just
taught
getting a
me
free level up here
they
by
are interesting.
getting through
Because they
Eve's
are
HP bar here.
They kill
And then after
uncountable
that,
members of their own
we can
kind,
escape this arena.
and yet loved in equal measure.
We're still waiting on the dialogue, but we can escape the arena, get a little extra EXP, and possibly some materials for a level 3 upgrade. Not all runners do that, as it does make some of the skips a little more difficult. This is a good example of walls are just not made high enough in this game. It's just, you know, they didn't make most walls high enough for us.
Or not solid enough at some points.
Yeah.
Can you believe this 2B?
Yeah. I figured Sheng would be going for VC3 here. I know he's one of the more consistent ones with the skips with VC3.
We destroyed these pathetic little aliens.
And then the dialogue ends there and teleported back to the arena. Fight is over, we get another free level up, and now we're going to progress the game even farther.
Operator 60. We now have an operational transporter in the city ruins. We're attempting to deploy them at other points as well.
Datto fell off of the City Angles Bridge and has opted to not continue.
To a temporary body back in the bunker.
So this has to.
Yeah, at that point, doing City Angles 1 is either a very, very, very slow fight, or a reload from the last save point.
Yep.
Or death warping probably works too, but it's that slow too, so yeah, it's a really huge time loss.
I don't blame him though. I mean, if you get knocked off
Yeah,
the
I can
bridge,
totally understand him, especially since he already was behind. He wasn't behind by much, but he was behind. So yeah, that's slow. And continuing at that point.
Sheng, I believe, is on a significant PB pace here.
Why don't we rest a little bit, 2B?
Like just comparing against my times, at least, like where my times are at, he's not too far off. Like, I mean, this is probably like, if this was me playing this game and I was at this point in the run, this is a 126 base. Which is a very solid time. This would be a really big PB. Currently, his PB is 128, 128.11. So this could be a large PB. It's very early, and I'm not going to say anything else on that matter, but it is possible that this can PB. Here is the second and final buying area of the run. Here we're going to sell the machine cores from the previous bosses. We're going to sell a lot of the unneeded HUD elements, and then we're going to buy the recoveries and large attack buffs, and it looks like Sheng has opted for the defense buffs as well. He was short on cables for VC3, but that's fine. It's not a requirement.
You can upgrade the sword a second time to level 3. Doing that gives you a 50% damage boost compared to level 2, which is immense. But it also changes a lot about clips in the game, so doing out of bounds stuff later on gets difficult. And
When do you think you'll be willing to call me?
on top of that, it's depending on RNG. So while we get all the materials for the first upgrade guaranteed from quest rewards, we have to rely on random enemy drops for level 3, so You can't always go for it, and even if you can, sometimes it's maybe wiser not to, because of the changed skips and stuff. So if you're not comfortable, you can still do everything, but it's different. So if you don't know the different strats, you shouldn't go for VC3.
I know Sheng was one of the ones to use anytime the level 3 sword has come up, he's been pretty open, has a pretty big voice on the matter, going towards upgrading it. So I figure he's pretty consistent with the changed skips as well.
Well, let's just say a lot of stuff like Copied City. If I get level 3 sword, I just don't do Copied City. And I lose, I think, 14 seconds to not doing Copied City. But I save way more in combat due to the level 3 sword, so that's still worth it. And mansplaining and Deep Factory isn't that different, so you can still do it. So VC3 definitely worth it, I think.
You just be careful.
Yeah. Also, there is the different strat that I did once with going for a level 3 purchase contract after Copied City, so you have it for factory and stuff. That actually works too. Like, I already checked my materials at the forest, and if I know I can upgrade it, I stop at the resistance camp to upgrade there. Doesn't lose too much time to do it there, and I still get a bunch of time saved from all the boss fights in the end game. And also Mook's room.
Oh boy. That was an interesting movement there from Sheng.
Yeah, that was interesting. Nothing dangerous, nothing weird, but just weird. But very precise on.
That was Rainbow Road there.
Yeah, very precise on Rainbow Road, but he managed to do it.
One of the that's one of those things with this game. The skips all have various ways to do them. I've actually never seen that string of inputs for Rainbow Road before.
I have no idea about Rainbow Road.
That was very interesting.
I still need to learn that. That's one of the things that I need to take a look at in my semester vacations now.
That was very cool. So Rainbow Road is actually a relatively new skip. We had an old skip that kind of abused or would trick the game into respawning you in another spot. Hence, it was named Mario Kart skip, kind of abusing respawn points, similar to the way a Mario speedrun would. Rainbow Road is the longest horizontal movement skip that we have in the game. And doing
it's the longest
long jump. Yeah, and doing that, we skip the void out, which saves an extra 4 seconds over the older strategy. Yeah,
but it's way more precise since it's a very long jump and very low, very precise, it's a very big amount of very precise inputs. So yeah, if you're good, you can save 4 seconds. If you're not good, you can lose more than that. So, but that's for all the skips. Many of the skips in the game are like that, and in that they only save a very small amount of time, which I actually think is a good thing, because that makes it very easy to start speedrunning NieR, because you can still get decent times, very decent times, with doing only half the skips. And we have seen that in this tournament. People that just don't do some skips and still get good times.
Everyone kind of has their own way of learning this game, and it's really interesting to see. Some people put more emphasis on the skips, and other people put more emphasis on the combat, and neither way is actually wrong. you can learn in whichever
stay
order
sharp
you'd
and-
like, and you're completely fine. I mean, it's a speed run. It kind of comes down to just how much time you're willing to invest. And that's one of the things that I really liked about this run is it's very easy to get into and learn, but there's a lot of room for improvement. And depending on how much time you want to invest, you can push that to some pretty crazy times.
9S, why did you ask Pascal about A2?
But
Huh?
It's not
yeah, here we are. Sheng is getting towards everyone's favorite part of the run.
Thanks, 2B.
Still, machines are the enemy. Don't forget.
This is a good
Oh,
point
she
if
does
anyone
still
has
have-
questions or
Oh, yes, it is.
anything like that for
Yes.
for
We have a
us.
15-minute auto-scroller, so if you have any questions about the run, the game, or whatever, ask now. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of time to answer your questions.
Yeah, this is the last kind of cool point here. Kind of get out of
Yeah.
bounds, grab this trigger, and then void out, which will put us back on the last solid ground we were on, which is back at the top.
Let's take him out
And then
already,
we're
so we can be
gonna
home in time for dinner.
Plunge into a new respawn zone to respawn
Androids
us
don't
right
need
at the
to
end
wait.
of the
As
flooded
long as
city
you perform
area,
regular cleaning and maintenance,
which is where we
bailing
need
is
to be.
unnecessary.
Yeah, but come on, 2B.
Yes.
It still feels good.
Again, this is one of the more precise skips, but you can do this also by just doing the first half of the skip, but instead of going under the ground and voiding out, you just land down in flooded city, and you're totally fine. Way faster than doing
I think that's the last
doing it the intended way, and not too much slower than doing the void out strats, and way easier than doing the void out strats.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of variations to the skips, depending on how confident you are. Which is
Yeah,
pretty
a
cool.
lot of skips have that, where they have multiple iterations. Which one version is more difficult but faster, and the other one is a bit slower but it's easier to execute. And in most cases, going for the easier one does have his reasoning, because if you do the harder one and you fail, you lose more time than what you would have gotten if you didn't attempt it at all or stuff like that. So you want to do the skips that you feel comfortable with, and don't do the ones which you know that you would probably fail and you fail. Yeah. Datto had a really unfortunate death. He was at that point. I want to remind you that when Datto failed that, it was a 10-second difference. So they were basically on equal pace, and if he would have continued at that point, he would have been multiple minutes behind. And it would be really hard. By far not impossible, but it would have been really hard to catch back up, especially against an opponent like Sheng. And
Our escort ship has taken damage and is unable
yes,
to
they're
engage.
doing that.
We're currently resisting with all
I
range.
can totally understand that he didn't feel like continuing the
I
run.
repeat, this is Carrier
Yeah.
Blue Ridge 2.
Yeah, we're in that stage where if you're in winner's bracket and that happens, you're probably just done. I mean,
Yeah.
we're at the point in winners where all of our runners are pretty close on leaderboard. So a mistake like that loses over a minute, pretty costly.
I'm not sure if did he get hit off of the bridge, or did he just jump next to the bridge?
It looked like he kind of got pushed a little bit. He didn't get hit per se, but I think the punch kind of pushed him to the side.
Yeah. I just always I have the thing there where I don't get hit or pushed or anything. I just jump out of bounds through the hole, and I just don't jump to the on top of the bridge and just jump down myself. I think I also had it once where I landed on the bridge, then jumped off of the bridge, or walked off of the bridge, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that bridge can be pretty trolly sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sheng now doing the Goliath flyer. Basically, we just spam the pod program twice, then just hold pod fire until the cooldown is done, and then use pod program again.
Didn't I kill that already? What
Yeah.
on?
And here we're gonna be entering the the meaty part of the fight, the disco whale. So now that we're at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and mention it now, so we don't forget. But so this is part of the long auto scroller section, and our community is tired of it. We've tried to skip this for a very long time, and we have not had any luck with it. So if you're one of those people who really enjoys finding skips and glitches in games, we actually have a bounty on a skip for this. If you can find a skip in the context of the A ending run, if you find a skip for this, then you'll come out of it a good $2,500 US dollars richer, as well as filled with a delicious homemade curry pizza made by Tech Theist.
Delivered to your door.
Yes, so it'll be
we have
so
to mention the pizza. If we don't mention the pizza, Tech will kill us, so it's $2,500 and a pizza.
Yeah.
We need a tracker for that. I think we had something different. I forgot what it was.
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
We need a tracker for Grunskip rewards at this point.
Yeah, but it's we're tired of doing it. It was cool casually. It was a great fight, and I enjoyed it in a casual play.
Don't get this wrong. Casually, this fight is amazing.
Yeah.
But if you do it over and over hundreds of times, it kind of gets annoying. Especially if you're trying to go decently fast.
Yep.
Even at the beginning, it's not too bad. Like when you're gold splitting Grun every second run by 1 second, half a second, and stuff like that.
Yep.
But in the end, it's 15 minutes. Some people are very, very good. It's only 14 and a half minutes.
I don't even. Well, I guess that's about what mine is.
Yeah, I think that was you. So
I can't remember. I know Canaris is like 14 minutes for Grun, but
yeah, 14 minutes. If you're good, you can have 14 and a half minutes. If you're Canaris, you can have 14 minutes. But even a Canaris cannot do this in faster than 14 minutes. So.
Yeah, so a lot of this is timed, so unfortunately you're just stuck.
Yeah, so unless someone finds a skip for this, some kind of sequence break, then we will be stuck with these 14 minutes, 14, 15, whatever minutes.
Having trouble over there? Are you Yorha? Hunter Squadron deploying out of North 12C Defense HQ. I'm the commanding officer, 4B. Don't worry, we'll take it from here. 2B, let's leave this area to the reinforcements. I have an idea. You and I should meet up at the spot I just marked.
We've got mortars lining the shoreline here. All the EMP shielding in the world won't help against close-range mortar fire.
Got it.
I always forget what the game calls this mortar. Oh, it says in the top corner. I just realized that. Wow. So that's not, I guess that makes sense. 9S calls it a mortar though, and it's not a mortar. Those are definitely like energy balls.
I didn't know. The entire science, so-called science of Grun does not make any sense at all. I mean, we had a cutscene earlier that we did skip, but in that cutscene we see a laser bouncing off of his electromagnetic barrier, like it's like the laser is made out of I don't know the English word that for what I'm looking for right now.
I'm not sure what you're going for either, so I'm not much help you.
Like it just bounces off, and that's not how light works.
Yeah.
Also, the light travels at like, I don't know,
a speed that was viewable by
a speed that is observable by the human eye. So a fraction, maybe a millionth of the speed of light. Probably not even that. So yeah, no, that's not how lasers work. Also, that's not how EMP works. Like he lights an EMP and everyone dies, but he does not. And 9S has some kind of shield against EMP strikes that's like made out of his pure willpower. I don't know how that's supposed to work. It kind of looks like, when he does that shield, it kind of looks like magic. But that would be the first point in the game, the first and only point in the game where any android uses magic. So there is magic in this universe, but androids cannot use it. Yeah.
Yep. We just finished up. Sheng just finished up the second core here. We have one more to go. We're almost done.
Yeah.
Kinda. Ugh. Yeah, I can say from my personal experiences doing this boss over 150 times, not exactly fun.
Yeah, really not fun.
It is kind of cool how this he is laid out as the gatekeeper of the game. You sit through this terrible 15-minute auto scroller, and then you get all the fun stuff. So it kind of rewards you with all the fun skips and all that afterwards.
Yeah, and the pace really, really picks up at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Especially if you do deep factory skips, but
which I would expect anyone in Winner's Bracket to be doing. So
yeah, everyone, at least for part 1.
Yeah.
Maybe not part 2. Part 2 is difficult, and you can mess it up. But...
well, I mean, even part 2, I think in Winner's Bracket, I think.
Yeah, the people we have here will definitely attempt it, and we will probably see it. But if someone doesn't do part 1 in Winner's Bracket, then I will be very, very disappointed.
Yep.
Yes, Datto forfeited his race. He got it was a very close race until he got a very unfortunate incident.
Yeah, he would have been a minute and a half or more, probably more time loss.
It would be a couple of minutes time loss.
Yeah.
So he decided on not to continue.
Especially being in such a close race in the Winner's Bracket. Both runners are very quick. So, I mean, there's less than a minute between their PBs. It's a mistake that loses over a minute is probably the end of the match. So I don't blame him for it either.
get put
It's
back online,
unfortunate
which
that it
means
happened
data
so
uploading
early,
is
but
currently unavailable in some areas.
Where's 9S?
it happens.
Yeah,
There's many
sorry
ways
about
to
that.
throw
We
runs
picked up a
away
faint black box
in
reading,
this game.
but it wasn't strong enough to lock down his position.
If you found something,
Here Shang
that
did a
means he must
couple
be
of
alive. Put in
void
a
outs,
request to the
just
commander
kind
for
of
immediate
move him
approval to begin a
forward,
search.
abusing
Actually, the commander has already ordered us to prioritize
respawn
tracking down
points,
surviving Yorha members. If
kind
you
of
find 9S,
using his
let me
movement
know,
tech to
okay?
go from
Will do. To the
one
end.
respawn zone to the next to save a little time. And here we have copied city
I
skip.
need you to scan for
That was
any
a
nearby
very
black box
interesting
signals.
setup for that. That's really cool.
Scanning complete. No signals detected.
One of the
However,
probably the most
unmanned scanners
precise
required for protection of weaker
angle
signals.
you
Never
need
heard of it.
for a skip
Said
in this
dynamic
game.
scanner may be located in the resistance camp.
That wall is
Proposal.
surprisingly
Further
hard to clip
information
through.
should be obtained from the resistance leader.
The skip
Let's
saves
go.
about 15 seconds when done optimally. Just kind of lets us plunge directly down to the copied city,
What is
which
this?
is where we're headed.
Analysis. This area is composed of crystallized silicon and carbon. Further,
What's with the corpses?
This part also has some of my favorite music in the game. Unfortunately, we hear next to none of it, but
Yeah, copied city music is good too.
I, or we, machine life forms, I suppose, have a
here
keen
we're
interest
fighting
in
Adam,
humanity,
and Adam really likes to talk.
family,
We don't like to listen, so we're gonna skip as much of it as we can here.
Yes.
By
2B is a very bad listener, so
By clipping out of bounds here, we can
yeah.
we can.
She will
run back
rather
to
walk
that.
through walk with her head first through walls than listening to you ramble about what problems you have with your life.
android graveyard.
Not what I would call a good listener. But yeah,
This
copied city
dialogue.
music really is good, but the best music in the game we won't hear at all during a ending. Sadly.
search for 9S.
I know. Let's move.
I know of only 2 seconds in the two instances in the game where it's used. It's not much.
Severed my connection to
Yeah,
the
so that dialogue is actually separated into 3 different chunks. So by entering the elevator at the beginning of the final chunk of dialogue, we interrupt it with dialogue with the pod, and that will just skip the rest of Adam's dialogue completely and progress us right into the
I
fight.
need to find 9S.
Here we're just trying to trigger him to talk, and at the point he's talking, we don't have to damage him at this point. So we're just kind of waiting to progress to the final phase. And then here is just get rid of his HP and be done with it. Now coming out of the copied city area, there's going to be a dialogue skip here. Normally there's a very long call with, I forget now because we skipped it for so long, I forget if it's 6-0 or Commander. I think it's Commander. But by interacting with that computer lady, we get a dialogue box open, and then we jump past the trigger that would normally start the Commander dialogue, and in doing so, it just never happens. Being able to do that allows us to read the mail that's required to progress in the resistance camp, so that we can run directly to the factory and not have to wait for Pascal to finish talking, which is very nice. We used to have to wait around for a good 10 to 15 seconds, so not having to wait at all is great.
If that's what they want, why don't they move in?
I believe they're working on building a colony of their own.
You don't say.
Indeed. Apparently it's located in the abandoned factory. I can give you the coordinates if you'd like.
Please.
I was actually planning to go speak with them myself, you know. Maybe we can meet up over there?
Sounds good.
Target location data obtained. Marking on map.
machines who seek to form an alliance with my village are hiding out here. Still, you should probably be careful.
So we're entering factory now, and
Even you?
what you see on Sheng's screen right now is purely for speed. And yeah.
Certainly does.
Yeah, by
I'm not sure if
having
I'm
free aim.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk more about that on speed gaming. So.
Oh well, it's fine. It's been done before.
Yes, it is, but it's. If I don't say any more,
faster.
It's more fun.
It's slightly faster to have 2B swipe the camera away repeatedly than it is to be in the forced slow walk. So yeah, saves time.
Yeah. Do we have any other plays where we can use that? Currently in A ending?
I don't believe so. Most of the other parts that you can do that, it's on a timer base, so it doesn't really matter. There we have pretty new finding. There's normally a bit of dialogue here with Pascal. By canceling the Pascal dialogue, by talking to Pascal, it actually causes the game to load quicker.
Yeah, so
it's kind of
usually the game does place the dialogue and then starts loading the next area, something like that. Which is weird, but that's how it is. So if you skip the dialogue, the game immediately starts loading and therefore is finished. Loading faster.
Yeah. So that was kind of silly. Sheng actually opted to leave the room. Here we're gonna void out. We have to kill a set amount of those robots, but by voiding out, the game will despawn the right amount of enemies.
Yeah, it despawns all of them, so there's no robots left, so we must have killed them.
There's robots left, but
no, that's only the ones that spawn after you.
I've never noticed, to be honest. You know.
Yeah, they drop from the ceiling once you press the elevator button.
Interesting. So yeah, it saves some time, but you do sacrifice experience, which isn't a huge deal for most of our runners.
So we have some very interesting stuff here now. So we have a very fast skip from the Mook's room earlier. The problem is we first have to hit a story trigger in that room with 9S. So we have to go down to the room with 9S, but then we cannot go back up because the elevator doesn't work. But by going out of bounds, as Sheng did there,
the door's open.
We can use the elevator again. So we can go back up to the Mook's room, do that skip where he did now. Basically, he jumped down there, hit a story trigger, but he voided out inside the story trigger before hitting the ground, which respawns him back on top so he can jump down out of bounds into the other direction to where he is right now.
Yep.
Especially
we skip the entire factory.
Yeah, we skipped the entire factory. We're right in front of the boss elevator now. And especially the part with voiding out inside the story trigger is pretty precise. One of the most precise skips, along with Cockpit City and Bridge Skip, rated the most difficult skips in the game. But it's really funny. It really saves a bunch of time.
It saves nearly 2 minutes.
Yeah, the entirety of skipping stuff in Factory saves about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it probably saves a little more with the Mook room. I didn't actually time the Mook's room clip with that, so my timings was a minute 50 without the Mook's room clip. So
yeah, so it should be Mook's room. Mook's room is 8 seconds compared to an optimal fight, I think. So yeah.
80% control. Hang in there, 2B.
Here we're just kind of waiting on dialogue yet again.
Actually, we're waiting on a timer, not on a dialogue.
Yeah, timer.
Doesn't
but, you know,
doesn't
same
matter
kind
for
of
a
deal.
ending.
Yeah,
But
same kind of thing.
same kind of deal. But we have a skip, a method in the game with which we can use to skip any dialogue there is. Sadly, we don't have access to that in a ending. But the reason why I'm so persistent about this being a timer and not a dialogue is you cannot save time here by skipping the dialogue. It still takes, you still have to wait the same amount of time.
Very good attack pick from Soshi.
Soshi, yeah, good RNG on Soshi there.
Attack.
And a very quick Soshi fight, so we're heading out of sight of factory, and
This is
I can never remember how much time is left, but this should be a very good PB pace.
From the final split of factory, so once we get the next cutscene here, it usually takes me about 8 minutes. I've seen a lot of runners are around 8:30, especially in the winners brackets. Most runners will probably spend about 8.5 minutes for the final segment. This is a very good pace, though. Also, that 8.5 minutes does not take into account the new Eve strats, so
yeah,
probably close to 8 minutes.
Yeah, so his current PB on speedrun.com takes 8 minutes 20 seconds real time. So it's about 8 minutes loadless, I guess. I don't know how many load screens we have in there.
There's none.
Yeah, there is none. You're right.
Yep, the last load screen is Copied City.
Yeah, Copied City is the last one. We only get a cutscene when leaving factory, but not a load screen. Yeah, so 8 minutes 20 seconds in his current PB, which would put him in a new PB.
Yep.
If he can keep that up in this run, and I'm pretty sure he can. He's a good runner.
Say again?
And
I'm not receiving.
all that's left is a boss rush, so as long as he doesn't mess up his combat, he should PB here.
I don't even want to. I'm like, I'm not gonna, you know. No commentators curse.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
I'm a bad
he got the
person.
punch glitch. He got the punch glitch there. Nice.
Yeah, punch glitch is so nice. But yeah, so he's heading back to the resistance camp, and we had a message earlier, and sadly it was so messed up. We couldn't hear anything at all, and we couldn't hear that they are getting attacked and by the machines. So we're very surprised seeing that the resistance camp is getting attacked by machines. Also, the machines are eating androids, apparently. They do in this cutscene that we just skipped.
Yeah. But here we're just kind of in a 2D. We just kind of have to kill these. There is some unfortunate death animations. It looks not too bad. Pretty good. These bipeds can have slow death animations. And when that happens, they get in your way bad.
He got only one, but he got the one that he got was on an enemy that he doesn't care too much about, because it was when the other machines were jumping down from top, so he had to wait anyways.
Yeah.
So he got very good RNG here. So outside we will see the first of 4 bosses in the boss rush. You might be familiar with him. This is Bokushi. He is the big brother of the guy that we fought in factory, Soshi. The only difference is that Soshi has blades, while Bokushi has guns. But that's basically it. Other than that, it's the exactly same fight.
That's a very rare attack here from Bokushi. You can kind of put out these little self-destructing robots. They can be very scary. Looks like he handled it fine.
Yeah.
Did not get the self-destruct there. There is a self-destruct at the end that will get you a little extra EXP. By no means
I hope he
required,
doesn't
but
need
it
it.
is nice.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't need it.
I don't think he will. He's still gonna get 19 at least, which is
Yeah,
fine.
he definitely will get 19. I'm speaking a lot about level 20. Level 20 gives you... Yeah, he got 19 just now, so he definitely... Oh, he goes fishing.
He's showing off
That's
some fishing here while waiting for the cutscene. Interesting.
That's an interesting stat. I need to do that. I need to steal that strat. That strat is amazing.
Interesting.
So-
So the pod was actually still fishing when he came out of that cutscene, but it was in midair. That's really funny. I've never seen.
I need to do that in the future. That was amazing. Yeah, the cutscene sets... Your cutscene is set to a specific location, the F. Okay, let me start that all over. Your position is set to a fixed location after that cutscene. So what you do before the cutscene starts doesn't matter, and wschseng opted to go fishing. And I think that's hilarious.
Damn it! They're here too.
Here we're trying to save Pascal because these robots are hitting his fence.
Imagine he gets... Imagine what would happen if he got lucky during that, and the time was... And he would actually catch a fish, and it would be like a golden machine head. Like a really rare thing. And I know you can get those at that location. You sadly cannot fish iron pipe there. Iron pipe is best pipe, but you can't fish it there.
There we had another dialogue skip that saves a couple seconds. By skipping this dialogue that wschseng did, it makes it so the final fight will start upon when you get to the trigger, as opposed to at the end of the dialogue segment that normally plays. So it saves a couple seconds here, depending on movement.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have no idea how to pronounce that name.
Here I'm hoping for a great Eve here. It's a little bit scary. Oh no! Yep, this is the unfortunate thing that happens when you either can't deal damage quick enough, or
you're just unlucky.
Just unlucky, yeah, it can happen. Eve can do this attack that we call platforms. It makes him basically untargetable. You have to climb up and hit him. You can do enough damage that he won't pick that attack, or you can slow-mo, which will also do that. But it's fortunately it was a pretty short platforms, but it's still rough. And here we're just waiting for 9S to hack, and good. 9S was behaving today. He can choose to just not attack randomly, and it's not fun. But 9S was a good boy here.
Yeah, so we're on phase 3 of the fight, which is buffing, shooting, and healing. Forget one of those things and you will have a very bad day. But if you do all those things, it's not too much of a difficult fight.
I believe... Yes. Yeah, so this is a new strategy. There is a damage threshold that, depending on your level, you can just auto-progress to phase 4 with the self-destruct. It does save a good chunk of time, and so now the reason why we typically don't do it is because of the slow walk animation, but thanks to the forced slow walk of phase 4 on this fight, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be slow walking anyway.
I have not seen that yet. That's
you
an
haven't seen the
interesting strat.
self-destruct?
I have not seen the self-destruct on Eve yet, and it is an interesting strat.
It can save a good. Oh no!
No!
Oh no!
Oh, that was so bad. Oh.
Oh, that's a feels really bad.
That has to feel bad. Oh no, that was very far to the end. I don't know. I think
So,
his buffs ran out.
unfortunately-
I think his buffs ran out.
Yeah, his buffs ran out.
So,
So
and then he got
unfortunately,
one
a
shot.
death there. Yeah, unfortunately, a death there will reset you to the beginning of phase 3. It does not return your items that you used, so fortunately, in the case of the speed run, unless you're dying a lot on this fight, which you shouldn't, but I mean,
You should, but it can happen. Especially if you're new to the game, it definitely can happen to you that you run out of buffs there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Destroyed. Close range combat no longer operable.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Eve was not being very friendly phase 4 there for him either. He was moving around a ton.
Yeah.
And since you don't really have any way to keep up with him, you're just kind of stuck with the pod.
Yeah.
I've seen this strategy from Kanaris, and it seems to work pretty well. There's a certain distance away from him that it seems like you can kind of keep him in one spot.
When Eve detached from the network.
I'm not sure if that's actually how it works or not, but it seems like every time I've seen someone do the stand in one spot strategy, it works pretty well.
But you'll lose you. The you that exists at this very moment.
Yeah.
Still a solid run. It is going to be a sub 130, which is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, it's a very good run. Sadly, no
Very
PB.
good run.
Yeah. Chat says that we cursed him.
I stopped talking about it, so
I
you
am
know.
I am very sorry about that. I am very
You can't
sorry.
blame me.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Hey.
have him here for an interview, so good job on winning the race.
I just
and
saw that he did forfeit.
I am
Yeah.
I am very, very sorry for
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
cursing your PB.
What happened? Yeah,
I talked
That was unnecessary.
I talked about you that you will get a PB if you can do this. And
it would be a yeah.
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 Yeah, Datto
then Eve
unfortunately
said-
got knocked off the bridge for city angles and just
Yeah.
opted not to continue, so...
Yeah. Also, at that point he was less than
Another
10
chance.
seconds. At that point he had less than 10 seconds behind you. He was less than 10 seconds behind you,
It
and
was a close race. Until
if he
then.
would have continued, he would have been multiple winners. But yeah, up to that point, it was a very interesting, very, very close race. Datto actually started out in the lead, never more than 20 seconds, and
Better prologue.
then you caught up, and it was on Adam Pit that
Yep.
you had a faster Adam Pit and caught ahead by 10 seconds, and it stayed that way. Even got a bit closer until he sadly fell down and forfeited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was still a very solid run. I was actually interested to see if you had actually been keeping up with the self-destruct for Eve. So it was
got
cool
it
to
somehow.
see that.
Yeah, I never saw that. That is cool. I need to do that. Also, I need to steal your fishing strats for Core 1. Those were hilarious.
To do.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, the fishing was amazing.
Yeah, that was great.
Yes, it was.
I don't really have too much to say. I mean, it was unfortunate what happened to you on Datto's end. I don't blame him. It was a very close race up till then, and losing that amount of time in the winners bracket is usually going to be a loss. So I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm gonna ask Datto if he wants to do commentary too. Interview. But yeah, any one of you has something left to say about the race? Something yet that you want to mention?
Not really.
Yeah, it was a very
still a fun run.
Yeah, it was a very fun run, and sadly Datto forfeited, but you still made it a very interesting race to watch until the very end.
I had a few frame rate issues, but it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, we had frame rate issues on both sides actually. I noticed some on Dodge's end as well. So
yeah.
The port strikes again.
Yes, it's nothing surprising from this game. I mean, you need a very top-end computer with completely overkill stats to not get any frame rate issues with this game.
With 1080 Ti is not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I run a 1080. I don't have really frame rate issues, but
it depends. Sometimes it's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, also like I know people talk. I heard people talking about having problems with 16 gigabytes of memory, and that not being enough for NieR. So yeah, this port is ridiculous. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and thank our runners for racing. Thank Henny for commentating with me. Thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting, and yeah, if you'd like to follow the runners, or if for some reason you want to follow me, okay, cool. We have a little bit of a break here. I'm not sure if there's something else on Speed Gaming's channel in the meantime, but I know in an hour roughly we have another Automata race. I believe this one is Shabu versus, I can't remember.
Shabu versus Fudge Cow.
Yeah, Shabu versus Fudge Cow. That actually could be a good match.
So yeah, that would
Shabu
be.
has been practicing, so
yeah, Shabu has been practicing a lot. So yeah, very interesting race. Watch it. I hope we have commentary for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not sure if I can make it, probably not. So yeah, so
thanks for watching, everybody, and
yeah, thanks for watching.
We'll be back with Automata in about another hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until then, if you're interested, you can watch Link's Awakening 100% is going on a different channel. I don't know which one.
Speed Gaming 5.
Speed Gaming 5. So yeah, go watch that. And yeah, have fun, everyone.